This episode of Inside Louisiana Athletics is brought to you by Our Lady of Lourdes Medical Center. Hi, I'm Marcel Johnson. Tonight on Inside Louisiana Athletics, basketball season is hitting its stride while Louisiana football is looking to wrap up its historic season. Our Darren Walker sits down with head coach Bob Marlin to discuss men's basketball bouncing back with 2 straight wins and a look ahead to a 3-game homestand in the Cajun Dome. Women's basketball finally played their first game of the season, and Coach Gary Broadhead looks ahead to McNeese State. But first, Louisiana football is heading to the Sun Belt Football Championship for the 3rd straight year with the highest national ranking in school history. Head coach Billy Napier is here to talk the program's first ever win versus App State and look towards their biggest test against the undefeated Coastal Carolina Chanticleers. Brought to you by Sonic. You're watching Inside Louisiana Athletics.
That's how we like it. That's how we like it. Nice and cold.
Hello and welcome to Inside Louisiana Athletics. The Ragin Cajuns football team is now 9-1 as they head to the Sun Belt Conference Championship game with Coastal Carolina. A 6-game win streak after an interesting 24-21 win over App State. Here to break it all down is the head coach, Billy Napier. After the game in the locker room, a lot of hugging and celebrating and congratulations. You and I had a brief conversation and you just kind of said to me, boy, to come here in this environment, in this stadium against a team of that quality and to not really play all that well at times, but to come away with a win, it was huge.
Yeah, no, I think tough place to play, tough conditions to play in. Certainly a really good football team, a veteran team, a lot of talented players. We've got a lot of respect for App, certainly having played them, 5 times in 2.5 years. So I think it just speaks to this group and how special it is. Unbelievable resolve to overcome some miscues in the kicking game. I thought defensively we were outstanding and we were creative in the way we had to move the ball in offense. So it was a good day. It's good to get that one out of the way.
Right, and some emotion in that locker room as well from some of the guys who have lost to App quite a few times, but. So now, 0-8 all-time against the Mountaineers. That proverbial monkey is off the back for the time being, at least. So let's get to some of the highlights here. A cold, windy, wet evening at the Rock in Boone, North Carolina. We always refer to it as beautiful Boone, anything but on this night, and it really would be a factor all night long. And as you alluded to earlier, the Cajuns were punting, and the snap sails right over the head of Reese Burns, but the disaster was really averted as a personal foul on App State brought it back to the 35-yard line. App would take it those 65 yards in 8 plays, kind of an ominous beginning to the game and a kind of a sign of things to come.
Yeah, no, I think, fundamental error, didn't handle the conditions well, and then some technique issues. Certainly fortunate to overcome it, but we've been so proud of Paul. He's been outstanding for our team. Just one of those tough days at the park for a specialist,
Right.
So we've been through some of those things in the past. We've had days where we've missed three field goals. We've had some punting issues, so it's part of the game. The specialists have got to play well, and sometimes they don't have great days, and it wasn't a great day for Paul.
Right. Cajuns moving the ball on their next possession. Levi Lewis hits Dante Fleming for 25 yards. That converted a 3rd and 7, but the drive stalls at midfield. Time to punt again, and once again it goes over the head of Reese Burns. This time he's able to cover it up at the 22-yard line. Short field for the Mountaineers, but the defense stiffens to force a field goal, and it's missed. So that was a huge part of the game.
Yeah, big situational football there. We always talk about winning the 4-point plays, forcing field goals in the red zone. Certainly after a turnover like that, it was huge to come up with this stop, really slow down the momentum there. It could have got ugly in a hurry.
Right. Next at possession, Lorenzo McCaskill forces Cameron Peoples to fumble. Zion Hill is there to recover. Offense takes over at the 49-yard line. Levi goes to work with a 12-yard completion to Elijah Mitchell. Then Levi on the ground for 16 more. Then back to the air. He finds a wide open Trey Regis for an 8-yard touchdown. Snap was off on the PAT, so the conversion failed, but it was 7-6, and you kind of snagged a little momentum right there.
Sure. No, I think big thing is the rain stop there in the second quarter. We've had a dry ball, able to throw it a little bit better. able to open it up a little bit in that possession. That certainly helped us.
Stopped momentarily. Time winding down now in the half. App with a 43-yard field goal. They extend the lead to 10-6, but there was still 23 seconds and 2 timeouts. App decides to go with the pooch kick, which gave us great field position at the 40-yard line. And Levi, back-to-back completions to Jalen Williams of 22 and then 17 yards. That helped set up Nate for a 26-yard field goal. And again, you get some points going into the locker room. It's 10-9.
Yeah, great situational football. 2 minutes before the half. Jalen Williams coming through. Good, clean pocket. You know, Levi was on point. I think we had a couple of timeouts in our pocket. Had a shot at the end zone, but you're right. The field goal was huge just in terms of momentum. A little shot in the arm headed into halftime.
Third quarter, Mekhi Gardner intercepts Zach Thomas near midfield. Cajuns take the ball and the lead. Levi picking up 9 to convert a 4th and 3. Elijah with some tough running for 12. Regis again, this time from 17 yards out. And then Levi gets the quarterback draw for the 2-point conversion. And now the momentum is clearly in our favor as we take the 17-10 lead.
Yeah, got some takeaways. Big third quarter. Defense held them to 0 yards, 17 points unanswered, I think, for the Cajuns. So really came out of the locker room humming, and that's what we needed to do.
Defense with a quick 3-and-out. Zion Hill with a sack, and offense goes back at it. And, Coach, this might be the play of the game. Elijah Mitchell goes 43 yards to the Mountaineer 19. Sean Jolly punches the ball out, but Peter LeBlanc is right there to jump on it. That play will never really show up in a box score, but it might have been the play of the night. Yeah,
and it was a point of emphasis, chasing the ball, especially in those conditions, trying to be around the pile if it did come out. Pete was hustling. He was in position. Good heads-up play by Jolly, their corner. Eli did not see him coming there, got him from behind. But I agree with you. Probably the play of the game there when you sum it up and look at it as a whole.
7 plays later, Regis finds a crease from a yard out. His third touchdown of the night is 24-10 as we go to the fourth quarter. But App not about to call it a night. They convert 3 third downs and a 4th down. They go 14 plays, 80 yards to make it 24-17 with just over 8 minutes to go. Later, Cajuns punting from their own 31, another high snap. And this time, Reese does the smart thing. He just kicks it out of the end zone for the safety.
Yeah, it's a unique rule, right? If the ball goes into the end zone, you can kick it out of the back for safety. If we were to do that in the playing field, they could take the ball where you kick it from, and it's a penalty. So good heads-up play by Reese to do that there, and that was the right decision.
App State takes the ensuing possession to the Louisiana 23, but Farad Gardner and Chauncey Manac combined for a 4th down sack of Thomas. Offense with a chance to get a 1st down and run out the clock. And on 4th and 2 from the 35-yard line, a call that raised some eyebrows, but you decided to go ahead and take that safety and, of course, run some time off the clock as much as you possibly could. And I guess it came down to eliminating another bad snap. And also, you didn't see much as far as a field position change by making that decision.
Yeah, no, I think if we'd have been a little closer, let's say we're on the -20, I think the issue there is if you did have a bad snap and it wasn't completely in the end zone, you got a little bit of a problem there and you could lose the game on one play. Right. So we decided to live and play another down, ran some time off, took a safety. Certainly being down by 5, a touchdown beats you either way. It was the equivalent of a 25-yard net. And our defense came through. Mm-hmm. So I think in the context of the game, I don't think I've ever played in a game where we had 4 really bad snaps. Mm-hmm. But we made the decision in the best interest of the team. I think as a coach going back, if you had the ability to line up in an offensive formation and quick kick with a quarterback, that would be ideal there. We didn't have that prepared, in that game plan. So I think we learned a lot. I know I did. But fortunate our defense came through for us in the end.
Yeah, App State drives to the 13-yard line, and it's Connor Staten for the game, tying 30-yard field goal, but it was not even close. And the Cajuns win it 24-21 in a game that I don't think anyone will soon forget.
Yeah, I'll tell you. And to go do it there in that type of conditions, to have some of those wild plays in the game, I think unique for sure. But this group's got a little something different about them. They enjoy being around each other. They work really hard. And and they've got a steadiness and a poise about them that I think makes them different.
Thanks a lot for the time. As always, Coach, next week we will go ahead and preview the conference championship against Coastal Carolina. That's next week on Inside Louisiana Athletics.
Let's go, baby!
Next on Inside Louisiana Athletics, Darren Walker sits down with head coach Bob Marlin to discuss their 3-game homestand.
What is it? Bangin'.
This is what I'd call a bangin' burger.
The chilies with the onions and the queso. Boom.
Queso knows where it's supposed to be, where it belongs. Sonic Queso Burger.
Santa's giving away employee pricing at Courtesy Buick GMC in Lafayette. Get a brand new GMC Sierra for $11,000 off the MSRP, or a Buick GX for only $18,988. Happy holidays from Courtesy Buick GMC in Lafayette.
To perform, you need speed, skill, strength. With every muscle, every move, you push your body to reach its full potential. But sometimes you just can't push through the pain. That's when you know it's time to address it. So when injury puts you on the sidelines, trust us to get you back in the game. Lourdes Sports Care, the team behind your team.
Santa's giving away employee pricing at Courtesy Buick GMC in Lafayette. Like a 2020 Buick Enclave for $10,000 off MSRP, or a 2020 Buick Envision for $12,000 off MSRP. Happy holidays from Courtesy Buick GMC in Lafayette.
How often would you say you eat queso?
At least 5 times a week on a good week.
5 times a week.
Maybe 4 to
Sounds
5
obsessive.
times a week. I wouldn't go that far.
You wouldn't say it's obsessive.
It's a hobby.
Starts as a hobby. Sonic Queso Burger.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Athletics. The Ragin Cajuns men's basketball team improved to 2-1 on the season with wins over UNO and LSU Shreveport this past week. Here now to break it all down is the head coach, Bob Marlin. Coach, 2-0 on the week, and of course you're happy with that, but let's dig a little deeper. What are some of the things that you saw in the 2 games that you liked better than what you did against Baylor?
Well, against Baylor, the #1 team in the country, we didn't get back in transition, get matched up. There was a lack of communication. They're very good, but no excuses. We have to be better in that area. We worked on it hard for a couple days in practice, Darren, and it showed against New Orleans. We were better, and then a little bit better against LSUS as well. And defensively also in the second half, we had 2 better halves in those 2 basketball games.
Let's go ahead and start with UNO. Last Wednesday, it's never an easy game playing the Privateers at Lakefront Arena, and UNO held a 26-25 lead at the half. Both teams shot right around 34%. Talk about the first half of that one.
Well, it was a tough basketball game. We told the guys going in it was going to be like a heavyweight fight, and if anybody knocked the other one out, it would be us knocking them out. If not, be prepared to go the distance and get a call there. But we knew that it was going to be a tough game. The last time we went over there was an overtime game. The game before that was 7 points, and then Matt Sullivan told me afterwards that the last 7 games have been decided by 24 points. So we had our guys prepared, and it's a big game for New Orleans. They used to be in our league, former rival, and they played us well.
Right. Second half, both teams shot much better, but really the story in this one, you alluded to it a little bit, was the defense. You had 12 steals, half a dozen blocks on the day, and then the second part of the story was really your free throws in the second half. You were 12 out of 16 to give you the 66-63 win.
Yeah, we shot more free throws and made more than every opponent so far in all 3 games, and that's been big because we've been outshot from the 3-point line. So we did a good job getting the ball inside. Theo made 2 big free throws late. We had a lead. We had a nice run in the second half. It started on the defensive end. It carried over the offensive end. It gave us the lead, and we had a chance to extend it. We didn't. We let them back in the game, as a lot of teams do early in the season, and we're fortunate to make the free throws and come from behind.
Malik Wilson with 21 points to lead the team. Theo Akuba, 16 points and 15 rebounds and a few blocks He is making his presence known early on in the season. Then we switch over to the home opener on Saturday afternoon. You're hosting LSU Shreveport. The Pilots shot 37% in the first half from three-point range and 43% overall, and got you to turn the ball over a little bit and kind of, I guess, surprisingly had you down by 3 at halftime.
Yeah, did a nice job. They've got a good team. They've won 22 in a row coming in. They'd won their last 14 last season and then 8 in a row to begin this season. Good players, and they attempt 32 three-pointers a game. They shot 31 against us, and as you said, the first half, Darren, they hit 7 and outshot us. We were up 10, let them back in it with a couple of bad turnovers, 3 possessions in a row, something that we've got to improve on too and value the basketball. But good team. We were down at the half, and again, the second half we came out. Our defense was much better. Had a nice run, and were able to put them away.
Nice run, to put it mildly. Second half, it was still a tight ball game with 13 minutes to go. LSU Shreveport had a 5-point lead, but I guess the team kind of said, all right, enough of this, and you go on a 24-4 run to wind up winning this one by 11.
It was a good effort down the stretch. We hit a couple of shots we needed to and just broke the game open when the opportunity was there to take it.
Yeah. 84-73 was the final, and you're getting a couple more guys in the mix now. Michael Thomas played some minutes. Jacoby Gordon made his debut, just to name a couple of guys. And I guess as the season progresses, those early season minutes may pay dividends later on, because as you well know, injuries can happen. Guys are forced into the lineup, so getting those guys some early minutes in the season helps.
Absolutely. It's important to get guys time and see what they can do, and hopefully we'll be adding some more guys off the injured reserve list here as the season progresses.
Looking ahead, you have LSU, Alexandria, Louisiana Tech, UNO at home, and I heard you talking about this on the radio after the game the other day. You're looking to just get some more consistency. Every basketball game is going to have those peaks and valleys, but you got to kind of shorten the valley and maybe not make it quite as deep.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just spoke with Coach Napier in the hall, and they've played really well, gotten better each week, and he talks about playing their best football at the end. And I think we saw that last week in their good win against App. It's early in the season. We all want that as coaches, but it takes time. Right. And we need to develop consistency, though, in certain areas, and I think this team can do that.
All right, Coach, thanks as always for the time. And we'll have Coach Marlin back to talk about those games next week on Inside Louisiana Athletics.
Coming up next on Inside Louisiana Athletics, Gary Broadhead is here to talk about the Cajuns playing their first game of the season and look ahead to McNeese State.
Get the gift of employee pricing at Courtesy Chevrolet.
With prices like a 2020 Chevy Equinox for $19,988 or this new Chevy Trax for only $16,988. Happy holidays from Courtesy Chevrolet, Cadillac, and BROUSSARD.
You are UL Lafayette's #1 priority. That's why we're following guidelines set by national and local health experts to protect you during the COVID-19 pandemic. The university is reorganizing rooms and spaces to reinforce social distancing, sanitizing campus buildings, and mandating that everyone wears protective equipment. But don't just take our word for it. Take a look for yourself at some of the many safety measures we're implementing, and you'll see that our priority is you.
I can have a crunchy demeanor sometimes.
Yeah, you're a little crunchy, you're a little abrasive. Maybe that crunchy person just needs to eat something. And then they'll be a little less crunchy.
Yeah.
Sonic Fritos Chili Cheese Junior Wrap.
Someone woke up on the wrong side of the crunch this morning.
The health and safety of our students is our main concern. That is why the Office of University Housing and Residential Life has developed new protocols and procedures to strengthen our efforts to protect you during this pandemic. Housing staff is trained and ready to carry out safety protocols and guidelines set by local and national health authorities. All common areas will be cleaned and sanitized often, and no more than 2 residents will share a bedroom and bathroom. These are just a few of the safety measures we are implementing to ensure that our priority is you.
Welcome back to Inside Louisiana Athletics. The Ragin Cajuns women's basketball team tipped off the 2020 season Friday night at the Cajun Dome hosting North Texas. Here now to talk about that and much more is the head coach, Gary Broadhead. Coach, before we get into the game itself, let's just talk about being back in the Dome, playing an opponent, being on the sideline, and coaching again.
Oh, I'll tell you, it was great, man. I got there 2 hours. I usually get there about 90 minutes before, but I got there 2 hours, and, man, our kids were out there shooting already. You could tell, man. I don't know if we wore ourselves out, but they were really excited about able to play again, you know. So I was really impressed with their attitudes and how they were, you know, hey, let's play, man. Tired of practicing and waiting. So it was exciting to be back in the Dome. And it was a little different when, you know, not a big crowd or anything, but, you know, it was good, really good to be able to get to play against somebody else and a really good team in North Texas.
Right. You found yourself down in this one 19-14 after the first quarter, but you had a huge second quarter. You shot 71% from the field, and you wound up taking a 1-point lead into the half.
Yeah, I thought the second quarter we got really more aggressive. You know, we kind of started to attack down the lane lines and all that. And, you know, Coach Weezar is in charge of offense, and, boy, she was kind of pressure. You know, she was wanting our kids to get a little bit more aggressive, and they did, you know. And I thought that's what it took for us to get back in the game. You know, we ran our offensive transition pretty well, and then, you know, we were limiting them to one shot that second quarter. So I think, you know, it played in favor of us to be able to take the lead.
It stayed pretty tight there late into the third quarter. You had a couple of free throws to give you a 5-point lead, but then the Eagles go on a big run, 26-6, and all of a sudden you find yourself down by 16 with just a few minutes to go.
Yeah, I tell you what, they came out with a 1-3-1 press, and we hadn't really worked on it. We had a young group at the time, and, you know, there was some turnovers being made, and the turnovers were really getting into scoring. It wasn't just a turnover, but they were able to score. You know, it's you know, and kind of my fault. I should have called a timeout right when it happened, and I like our kids to play through adversity. I'm just always been a big believer in that, and I probably should have had a timeout at that point and kind of settle them down and kind of draw up exactly what we want to do. Because when we did get the timeout and showed them what we really want to do, they did a pretty good job of taking care of the ball.
Right. North Texas gets the 83-74 win. Obviously, some things to improve on, but talk about some of the things that you saw after watching the video that you liked about the way the team played.
Well, like I said, you know, we were started to attack. We were aggressive on the offensive side, and I thought we started to do a little bit better job of taking care of the ball. You know, we had some early turnovers and some turnovers in that press, but right after that, you know, I thought we did a good job of doing that. You know, we got to keep people off the boards. It's always a worry of ours is to keep people off the board. So, we got to do a little bit better job of blocking out. But I thought we handled their pressure a lot better as we went down the game. And then also, you know, we got better defensively. We played all right in the half court, you know. But, you know, it's why you play those early games. You know, you're going to be able to make those mistakes and kind of learn from, you know, all the mistakes. And you know, we're having good practices, and, you know, our coaching staff's done a good job of putting something together against McNeese, so we can do a little bit better job and get better every day.
Yeah, you know, in sports, you hear it all the time. The biggest improvement can come between game 1 and 2. You're nodding your head, so I guess you're a believer in that.
Oh, I am, you know, and I see it, and, you know, that's why we usually play those exhibition games. The exhibition games are the ones that, you know, are usually the ugly ones that we have so many mistakes. And by the time you get to the third game, you're kind of ready to roll. And, you know, North Texas was on their third game, and we won our first. So it's not an excuse, but, you know, they just look more comfortable than us. They're running the same offense as us. They were a little bit more effective, you know. So I'm hoping we can get into this game on Wednesday and kind of get going, you know, and able to continue to play the number of kids we want, because we know when we get into conference, we're going to need you know, 10 to 12 kids to be able to compete, you know, those back-to-back games.
Yeah, you mentioned McNeese. You also have Southeastern on the schedule this week. Always important to kind of take care of business when you're playing those in-state schools.
Yeah, it's fun, though. You know, it's like I know those guys. I mean, Casey Cryer, the head coach at McNeese, played for me in high school, and then I coached with her at McNeese. So it's, you know, to me, it's always good to have those, you know, the small rivalries against our players know them, and you know, I mean, we recruited a lot of their players, they recruited a lot of our players, so it's fun. You know, I think when you can get a chance to play someone in Louisiana, it's a pretty big deal, because, you know, we're competing for a lot of the same kids.
Right. Well, best of luck this week with those 2 games, and we'll have you back next week to talk about that. And that'll do it for the women's basketball section of Inside Louisiana Athletics.
Chili's first, because
Chili's
it's
the star
of it. And then cheese is just there to be like, I'm gonna lift you up. It would be nothing without the Fritos and the cheese.
And cheese is like the hype man.
Sonic Fritos Chili Cheese Junior Wrap.
I got you. Yeah.
If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it's Zydeco. If you're happy and you know it, then your feet will surely show it. If you're happy
commencements, I've welcomed graduates to the finish line of their academic journeys. Tonight, in these surroundings, let me welcome you instead to the end zone. We will be awarding 320 degrees this evening, and it establishes a new university record of 3,610 academic degrees awarded this academic year. So graduates, you are part of an historic occasion. No matter what degree you are receiving tonight, you will play a role in the shape of things to come. Many of you may feel uncertain right now, and that's okay. But looking at you, I am filled with hope. The sun may be setting now, but a new dawn remains ahead, and you will lead us toward it. Congratulations, graduates. Thank you for being here, and go Cajuns.
You are UL Lafayette's #1 priority. That's why we're following guidelines set by national and local health experts to protect you during the COVID-19 pandemic. The university is reorganizing rooms and spaces to reinforce social distancing, sanitizing campus buildings, and mandating that everyone wears protective equipment. But don't take our word for it. Take a look for yourself at some of the many safety measures we're implementing, and you'll see that our priority is you.
How often would you say you eat queso?
At least 5 times a week on a good week.
5 times a week.
Maybe 4
Sounds
to 5 times
obsessive.
a week. I wouldn't go that far.
You wouldn't say it's obsessive.
It's a hobby.
Starts as a hobby. Sonic Queso Burger.
Get the gift of employee pricing at Courtesy Chevrolet.
All new Chevy Silverado 1500s are $12,000 off MSRP. Or take home a 2020 Chevy Equinox for $19,988. Happy holidays from Courtesy Chevrolet, Cadillac, and BROUSSARD.
Anybody at school that makes you melt like this queso burger? I think it starts with the, right?
Stop! You're so mean! Sonic Queso Burger.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Inside Louisiana Athletics. I'm Marcel Johnson. See you next week.